Hey everyone, my name is Austin. I'm a senior product designer here at GitLab working in the compliance group. This week on the agenda, I wanted to call out a few things. So starting right off, status checks are ready for us to start updating. This is really exciting because we have a design ready to go to overhaul the way that we present status checks. So I'm going to work with Sam on getting that scheduled, maybe 14.6, maybe 14.7, just depending on when front end can get to it, but they do want to push for that as a part of a OKR in quarter 4. If you're interested, you can check out this merge request in a public project that kind of is showing behind a feature flag. We're putting these changes in there. So you can kind of see it side by side with the existing versus the change that load performance has implemented, and we'll do the same for status checks. Next, I spent a good bit of time this week actually deep diving into alerts and banners. Yeah, so as I had to recreate my GDK, it led to some wonky stuff that I was running into, and it was a reminder that once you get into the GitLab workflow, you might be greeted with a lot of noise. And so I'm going to be working on building out this epic to help pull together the various alerts and banners that should be revisited. I think there are some things that could either be converted from an alert or a banner into a different component, or rather even organized differently, or probably migrated. Some of these are written in YAML, maybe need to be updated to Vue or using the GitLab UI. So I'd love to see this become a little more smoothed out in the coming months. And the one that's top of my mind right now specifically is with delayed project deletion. So we currently do a very small alert on the project page. You will also get a little badge if you go to the deleted projects tab under projects. But yeah, so this is the only place you get awareness of it right now. I was considering some different options. Maybe putting in a global alert could be an option. Right now, it doesn't look like any of our alerts are behaving like this, so there might need to be some rewriting on the front end to even make that possible. But some other ideas that I was exploring, putting it in as a in-page level alert, but also considering maybe it doesn't need to be an alert. Maybe we could make it like a highlighted section in our navigation, or it could be like a sub-descriptor of the project name, or maybe we could add a badge into the project path. That might be useful because that's universal everywhere. If you're looking at it anywhere in the project, keep that context. Important to know if you're on a repository or an issue or merge request, like why things are read-only, it's because it's going to be deleted in the future. And I'm still working on wrapping up some UI text discussions with Evan around updating the language for project deletion. We got a few threads going here. We're just trying to sort out effectively how we want to write out some of these statements. And so hopefully we'll get this resolved in this milestone and we can start actually planning this in 14.6. And lastly, I also spent a good bit of time learning about default branch protections again because I think I had some assumptions about how they worked and they don't work how I thought, which is, I think, okay. But what I thought was when you go into the settings for a group and you say you want your default branch protection to be fully protected, I assumed that it was going in and making a check to see if the project exists. If the project exists, then it would ignore updating the repositories like protections. So if you had it set to anyone can push, then it wouldn't impact it. But if you had a new project, then it would update that repository, or rather, since it doesn't exist yet, it would be setting it so that only maintainers can push, as an example. But really, how it's working is if you go update that setting, it doesn't really matter if it's a new or an existing project. It's looking to really see, does a repository with a branch exist yet? Doesn't even matter if the branch is main or a different branch that's pushed up. Really doesn't matter. What it's going to do is it's going to push down that fully protected branch default setting into new repositories. So in this case, only maintainers can push whether it's main or whatever branch is being pushed up. And if the repository exists, then it's going to leave it alone. So if you have it that anyone could push, then it's going to remain there. So yeah, it's not what I expected, but I think we have some issues coming up to better clarify that anyways. So I'll just continue working with TechWrite and make sure that we have the clearest instructions possible. Sweet. So that wraps it up for this week. Hope you have a good Halloween.